Kada Scott was murdered within 20 minutes after she gets into the car of the alleged perpetrator.
She is reported missing October 4th, 20-some minutes into her shift. And then 20 minutes later, police sources believe that is when she dies.
The police officers clawing at the dirt with their bare hands. They can smell human decomp, and suddenly they see maggots.
It's a horrible scene. It's a terrible situation.
She lasted 20 minutes in the car with this predator.
Nancy, I will provide a timeline here that we nailed down yesterday. She is reported missing October 4th, 20-some minutes into her shift. And then 20 minutes later, police sources believe that is when she dies. So that is October 4th. That is days before a news conference announcing that they're asking the public for help. And of course, that is now this huge...
Joe, what did you say? 20 minutes later, what? Repeat.
20 minutes after they say she leaves work is when they believe she dies. She is alive for only 20 minutes after she left the place that she works at in Chestnut Hill in the city of Philadelphia.
Put him up. Holden, I don't understand. I hear you, but I don't understand what you're saying. She was dead within 20 minutes after taking her away from the assisted living where she worked?
What police are telling us, 20 minutes. They're very guarded on details of how they know that. We couldn't even nail down if they have surveillance video of her getting into this car, which becomes a whole other side of this story where we thought there was one car. Now there's a second car involved, and it's a 2008 black Hyundai Accent. So Keon King, the suspect in this, is now utilizing two different vehicles, and it's believed he shows up to the terrace of Chestnut Hill there where Kada Scott worked the Saturday night of October 4th. They know each other somehow, but are not giving us much detail as to how well or how long. She gets into his car, and they are telling us now, according to multiple law enforcement sources, that she's alive for about a 20-minute time frame, and then she dies.
The psychopathy behind that, I'm very anxious to determine why, just 20 minutes in, she is murdered. Is there someone out there that actually thought it was a good idea to help murder Kada Scott so there wouldn't be witnesses and or dispose of her body? Listen.
At this point, we do have reason to believe that other people may have been involved after the fact. At the point where the Hyundai Accent is on scene, on video at the rec center leading up to all of the events we're talking about, the other car, the Toyota, is there as well. And we believe the people in these vehicles are working together.
Is that why, Joe Holden, that law enforcement believes there is an accomplice? Maybe after the fact, maybe not. I don't know the extent of the accomplice's involvement. But there's two cars. He wasn't driving both of them, or was he driving both of them at two different times? Who do the two cars belong to? Why are they saying, bombshell, there's an accomplice that thinks it's a good idea to bury a Miss USA hopeful behind an abandoned middle school?
So we don't know what kind of help he's getting, but you're ringing a bell that's going off in all of our minds is, where is the homicide charge? We have not seen it. We've only heard that they are working on bringing that case. So instead of that case, we have now what is an arson charge. And there's also a conspiracy charge attached to it. So there right in lies the who's the helper. Also, about this tipster that leads them back to this property on Saturday, we don't even have a sense that investigators have an identity on the tipster. Lots of sources telling us this has to be someone in Keon King's tight-knit circle here, his group, someone he knows, maybe a family member. Where we are scratching at the surface here.
Joe, that was some tip that actually called into police anonymously, told them where to look, and then when they didn't find anything the first time, called back and said, go back. What, were they watching the police, or were they watching the news to know there had been no announcement? That's bizarre.
check all those boxes because we know that from police and prosecutors, this was a persistent tipster. They first called 911 last week to say, you better look at that middle school property. And then police come, they go, they have nothing. And so let me stop that right there. They do find a cell phone case, they find a bank card, and they find an iPad case and possibly some other personal evidence. Yet they didn't find Kada. So that tipster then emails, I'm told from sources, emails, go back. You have to look again. You have to look more specifically in this location. And we learned that yesterday from prosecutors. So that happens. They go back. They find her in a shallow grave.
How do you recognize a shallow grave? Wouldn't you agree that you see disturbed earth, where everything looks the same, be it grass or leaves, that have been there forever, that have been wet, that have been dried, that have been rained on again, and suddenly you see a disturbed area? I have always looked for a disturbed area before using, for instance, a ground penetrating. Have you seen a ground penetrating device where you can see, it kind of looks like an ultrasound, and you see where underneath the soil the dirt has been displayed, but you don't need a ground penetrator. You can see with the naked eye where the soil looks different from everywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. There's ground penetrating radar, there's LiDAR, there's various technologies that can be used. But to the naked eye, I think what made this search complicated is that around the abandoned building, there's probably a high amount of debris, a higher amount of boards scattered around. And in this case, the reports coming in is that disturbed earth was covered up by a large piece of wood.
Guys, you are seeing video of LE, law enforcement, on the scene, and they're discovering Kada's remains. And as Joe Holden just told us, a lot of these first responders and police went off the grid and couldn't be reached. It was just too much. This is from our friends at ABC6. Dr. Thomas Coyne joining us, Chief Medical Examiner, District 2 Medical Examiner's Office, State of Florida. He is a forensic pathologist, he is a toxicologist, he is a neuropathologist, and more. Dr. Coyne, I'm sure you are familiar with the area of investigation that is forensic entomology. And I bring that up because of the existence of maggots, not blowflies, but maggots. Why do I care? Because it ages the time of death. It helps me get a time of death. Explain.
Sure. I mean, certainly from the field of entomology, we know that different species of insects arrive at a decomposing body or a dead body at varying time intervals. So you can collect the different insect species that are found and examine their larval stage. So for instance, with regards to maggots, it is well known how long it takes a maggot to go from an egg to a certain size larval stage, then eventually to becoming a fly. And so if you are able to characterize what stage of development the maggot is at, you may have a good idea of how long that body was perhaps present in the ground.